Hey everybody, welcome back to the Place and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gordo Gambles, joined today by nobody. Once again, another lonely week while Kieran's out throwing frisbees for those outlaws. That's okay though, because I'm back to break down an awesome slate, a pay-per-view this week, UFC 275. And whereas I do miss my co-host, I got plenty of knowledge to go around, so I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Before the video starts, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We have lots going on. If you guys are not aware, this man right here is riding a bit of a hot streak. If you don't follow me on Twitter, make sure you go do so, at GambleGordo. What are we up? 36 units of the past 6 events in a row. I also got tons of content on the CurrentMMA channel, live streams here, PubSportsRadio. I'm out doing work, so I appreciate all the support. I hope you guys are making some money with me because it's been a fun past couple weeks and we're looking to keep the hot streak rolling. Now, as always, I'm going over every single fight on this card. I'm going over every single one of my targets and all the fighters I am playing. But if you guys want to know a full betting breakdown, a whole full card breakdown for not only myself, but also the great likes of Liam Picks Fights and MMA Kelton, live stream here Friday night, 5:30 p.m. I'm excited to get that going. Make sure to tune in for that one as well. But without further ado, let's break down the slate. Of course, we have Teixeira defending his belt for the very first time. Cinderella story, awesome, great to see him in the later end of his career become champion and make a lot of people happy in the process. But he's facing a guy in Jedrzejczyk who's only had a couple fights in the UFC, but if there's one thing you gotta know about this man, is he is a warrior. He's a killer. He is just a freak of nature. You watch his training videos, you had your butt punching trees, you know, doing all the stuff that a normal samurai would, I assume. And it's really just an interesting clash of styles. Now, I'm centering my DraftKings lineup creation this week around this fight, similarly as I would to a Charles Oliveira main event. I think this is a fight where you have two guys who are really killer to be killed. Teixeira, where he is older and has this insane ability to come back from spots where he shouldn't be winning, has been cracked in the past, is facing a guy who's just a relentless force who will come forward. On the other hand though, Jedrzejczyk, a guy who hasn't really had his ground game tested, who eats shots like it's eggs for breakfast. And the only certainty we have in this fight is that it's going to be fun. These guys are both going to come forwards. I really don't want to put it as simple as a striker versus grappler, but that's really how it is. If he stays on the feet for extended periods of time, Jiri's going to push forwards, look to crack the chin of the older fighting Teixeira. But if Glover gets one takedown, he is going to be something that Jiri has never felt before. One way or the other, I want a bit of this fight in my lineup. Now, typically, I'd want that underdog. I'd look to have the cheaper fighter because his win condition scores just as well. But in this case, where we have a card where I'm liking a lot of dogs that we'll talk about later, I have to go with Jiri this week, and he's going to be a guy I'm going to have more in my lineups. Again, I'm going to be almost 100% owned in this fight anyways. I think it's pure violence, pure fun. But due to all the value I have, and with Jiri being the younger fighter with a huge striking advantage, a huge durability advantage, I will be rostering a lot of him at 8.9K. Now, that's the fight I want most ownership on. That's my fight to target. That's a really, really high-level main event. Well, my second fight I want to target, the one I want to have the second most ownership in, is the opposite of a high-level main event. It is a low-level affair between Liliana and Silvia Juarez, but it's going to be fun. Trust me. I mean, where it lacks name value, it'll make up for an entertainment. Liliana, 24 professional fights, only made it to the third round once. This girl is, as I always love to say, a killer to be killed fighter, and these are the type of fighters you want to target in DraftKings. Luckily for us, her opponent's the exact same. Silvia Juarez is a girl who's had 2 UFC fights and has been submitted in the first round both times. Now, isn't that kind of a good coincidence? You have a girl who's a first rounder bust, kind of a great grappler, a good wrestler for that single round, who is patented in getting these armbar submissions. She's taking on someone in Juarez who has lost in the first round to armbar and who loses every time it goes to the ground. It's just this insane dynamic. Now, this really is a striker versus grappler. On the feet, Horace possesses a lot of power. She sat down Vanessa Demopoulos last time and unfortunately followed her to the ground, but that's her weakness. Anytime it goes to the ground at all, she's a fish out of water. She cannot grapple. She's purely a powerful striker. And that's not going to bode well because Liang Na, where she does only have 1 round of cardio, she gets to the ground very well. She's a very strong wrestler, very good on the ground, and these two just are going to clash. Liang Na is actually my favorite underdog of the week because she has this clear-cut path to victory, and a clear-cut path to victory that scores very, very well. For this 1 round of gas she's going to have, she's going to go down there, look to get that takedown, look to advanced position, which is not going to be hard on Juarez at all, and she's going to look to finish the fight. However, if she can get that takedown, if this fight gets extended at all, if this fight stays on the feet at all, it is Gomez Juarez all day. She does have good power. She will have the cardio advantage here. And I feel like this is a fight that I can't see it going to the scorecards. I mean, like I said, Na has what, a round, maybe not even a round of cardio. And if it does get extended at all, like, she's been finished. She has given up from being so exhausted. Just check out that Carnelopsi fight, which was a war, by the way. But this is one where Young Na is going to have to take her down. She's going to have to establish position. And if she does, she scored very, very well, 100 plus easily. However, if she can't do that, her opponent's also going to score 100 plus. The ceilings on both these fighters are extreme. I'm leaning towards underdog Young Na because she has that clear-cut path to victory, but I'll be high owned on both sides here. That was some passion. I'm excited for that one. Next up, another fight I want a lot of ownership on. Maybe not as much. I'm not as passionate about this one, but I do think both fighters have very good path to victories here. That is the Garcia versus Maheshete fight. If we look about this skill for skill, Garcia is the more tested guy. He has the patented ground game. We know Maheshete struggled on the ground, and he has a lot of path to victories to win here. I think that Steve Garcia is probably the better fighter with more tools and more path to victory and the ability to score high, but he has a questionable chin. I mean, if you get dropped 3 times to Jamie Simmons, I mean, it's not the best look in the world. And I do think that while Maheshete is young, he's still coming to his own in MMA. One thing he does have is good boxing chops and very good power. This is a very simple fight for me. Either Garcia is going to take him down to the ground, exploit the takedown defense and defensive liabilities of Maheshete, and score very well there, or he's going to get clipped. And getting clipped, Maheshete will probably score very, very well. I do think this fight scores well on both sides. I want some ownership on both of them. If you need the dog, take Maheshete. His ceiling's super high. However, both these guys' floors aren't the best. All right, being so passionate about all these lower level fights, we're forgetting that there's another title on the line here. Valentina Shevchenko, Taila Santos. Shevchenko, as always, coming in a huge favorite, $9,600. Is it warranted? Yeah, probably. I mean, she's my cash play of the week. I mean, even with all the underdogs I have, she could be a GPP play as well because she has that floor. She has the ceiling there. I mean, Santos, where she is a determined prospect who has done well recently, I mean, she did lose to Romero Borello. I mean, that is not a look you can get rid of. Shevchenko's going to be able to style on her on the feet. We all know she has no problem with volume and scoring very well on DraftKings. And I do think the longer this fight goes, the cardio is going to be in Valentina's pocket all day. I will give Santos credit that she is tough. She will probably go for takedowns here, but unfortunately, I don't see it going too well for her. I do think Shevchenko at $9,600 is the side here, even though it is such a wide price tag. But I mean, she put up 134 points in a decision last time it did go the whole 5. Even her last time out there where she did get that 4th round finish, 108 points. I think Valentina is a very safe option on a very risky card. All right, next up, this should be 5 rounds. I don't know why it isn't. They're running back the greatest female fight of all time. Don't care if anybody says this is it right here. Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jedrzejczyk. I'm just gonna call it JJ. Last time they fought, JJ, of course, she looked like Megamind out there. Huge hematoma on her head, and where it was an incredible, incredible fight. I had it for JJ, and I know that's gonna rub people the wrong way. That's how I scored it. Unfortunately, that bias is coming into this one as well. This is a 3-round fight. This is a lot different one, but I think that 3 rounds allows these fighters to go. I just broke my pen. I think that these 3 rounds allows the fighter to go out there and really just push a pace, have the ability to go out there and not worry about cardio dumps, but give it their all and score very well in the process. And I think that JJ at 7.4K is almost ridiculous. I mean, you're looking for underdogs, you're looking for fighters who are able to get 10x their value, who are able to score well for you, and I think Joanna does not lack that at all. She's going to have volume, she's going to have pressure, she's going to have striking accuracy. I mean, I think she's going to accrue points very easily here, and I do think the win is on her side. Last time they fought in that 5 rounds, I mean, Joanna won the first 3 on the judges' scorecards. I think she can do it again. 7.4K. I love her for value this week on DraftKings. All right, 3 more fighters I want to talk about before I round out the card. 2 of those being underdogs. The first one of those being Mr. Kang here. Ho Kang coming in here, fresh off a loss of Brian Yaha, which wasn't the best stylistic matchup for him here. But he draws Mr. Dana Bakary here, and I think that is a pretty good stylistic matchup for him. Kang's nickname is Mr. Perfect, and he does a lot of things very, very well. Good rounded fighter, and has a really good takedown upside in this spot here. Dana is a guy who's come in here with really good power, got 3 knockout wins in a row, and succumbed to that amazing spinning back fist that I was lucky enough to be in person to watch. But I think that Kang's going to have the ability to be the more well-rounded fighter here and win some minutes. I mean, Hailtang Ali took down Bakary and scored lots of takedowns in that 3rd round, and I think that Kang's smart enough to go out there and bring him to his world, which is the mat. I know that Bakary looks to have decent takedown defense now, but I think that the more well-rounded fighter, the guy with more DraftKings upside in this case, is the underdog in Kang, and where he has been finished only once, that was just soccer kicks a long time ago. So I do think he's able to withstand the power that Dana has, because we all know he's got lots of power. But I do think Kang's aside here at 7.9K, I think he's a very, very live underdog for us. And the last dog I'm going to touch on is going to be Ramona Pascual. I mean, 7.5K. She came out there last time at her debut, withstood the huge barrage from Nunes, and even locked up 3 takedowns. She is a tough active wrestler. She's going to go out there and she's going to look for takedowns against someone in Edwards who has been taken down a lot. I mean, she got controlled for 15 minutes last time against Jessica Rose Clark, whereas Ramona isn't no Jessica Rose Clark. I mean, she is a promising talent who will shoot those takedowns. Now, Edwards is someone who's accepted bottom position, who has been out-grappled by everyone, and it looks like that this is a better stylistic matchup for Pascual than the 7.5K price tag does entail. I do think that on paper, and especially on the feed, it's going to be Edwards all day, but when you have that, just that path to victory, that X factor, especially at a dog price, I think that Pascual is live because her win condition scores very well because she's going to accrue takedowns and control time. And I do think she's tough enough to withstand the damage and the onslaught on the feet. So give me Pascual to lock up some takedowns. Give me her to reach 10x value. And I hope she pulls this out for us. The last fighter I'm going to talk about before I round it out is going to be Brendan Allen. 9K. I think he just completes the card for us because we have these underdogs. We have these risky fighters. We have these GPP plays. He's a guy who I think is pretty well-rounded and who will have a really good path to victory here. If you guys know me, I've been trying to fade Jacob Valcoon for forever. Like, I'm not a fan of this guy. I do think that he's a very, very smart fighter. And of course, everybody who gets in the ring can beat me up. I know that. But I do think that Valcoon has just had opportunistic matchups that he did well enough to win. Unfortunately, getting a huge step up, Brendan Allen is no joke. And I do think Brendan Allen has him covered everywhere. On the feet, Brendan Allen is the better striker. Durability-wise, his chin isn't perfect. And whereas Malkoun usually goes for takedowns, I mean, if he does that, he's going to go right into Brendan Allen's world class on the ground. And I think that he does have really good finishing upside here. But even at that, I think Brendan Allen's stronger. I think he's got the better upside on the feet. I think he's got the better ceiling here. And I think he's got a pretty safe floor at 9K. I think he rounds out this card perfectly for us. All right, that's going to do it for my core plays. Let's round out the rest of the card here. Manel Kape, Bontarine. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I mean, the fave Manel Kape. I mean, we've seen Bontarine slow down in fights. And I do think Manel Kape's going to be the more, let's say, active and better striker on the feet here. So I'm going to take Kape to win that one. Not one I want too much ownership in, but I'm going to lean the favorite in Kape because it's not like I'm searching for dogs that much with all the underdog value I have. Choi versus Kulabao. I mean, this is a fight I want no part in. This is my fade fight of the week. So I'm going to Choi. I do have him to win 9.1K. I mean, he's not averaging the best score on DraftKings in the first place. I do think his win condition doesn't score that well. I mean, it looks like Kulabao's going to go for takedowns. He's going to get them? Nope. 0% takedown accuracy, has not landed one yet. I do think Choi is the better fighter, is maybe live for a later knockout, but when you're sitting above Allen and Prochazka, I don't really think I can take him at 9.1K. Next up, Fiala versus Matthews, and I know everybody and their dog is on Matthews this week. I think it's a fun matchup. I think you guys who got the plus money number on him are in a good spot here because he does have this grappling path to victory. I just don't want this fight. I think there's more to it than people are just saying, oh, hyping up Fiala too much. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's gonna have the power edge. I think he's gonna have that pressure. And of course, Matthew's gonna be able to land takedowns here, but I think it's a lot closer than people are making it out to be. People are making it out to be like Matthews should be the minus 200 favorite here, when I do think that it's gonna be a close fight. I do think that Matthews has a better DraftKings play because he's able to go out there, get takedowns, get control time, and I do think that that is a definite path to victory. But I do think Fialo's, his ceiling's pretty good there, because if there's one thing he does have, that's insane power. Just ask Van Camp last time out. This guy's super active, he's fun to watch. Not a fight I necessarily want to target, especially when it's sandwiched in between Garcia and Gomez Juarez up top. I do think that I'll be a bit contrarian because I think a lot of people are targeting Matthews as a dog, and for that reason I kind of will be cheering for Fiala, but not one I necessarily want to put my foot down and pick a side on. And last but not least, the people's main event, Jack Della Maddalena versus Ramazan Emeev. I mean, I get the hype on Jack, he's a great prospect, but there's hole in his game. Not that long ago, he was, what, 50-50 to Andalusa, and Andalusa took him down and passed through his guard easily. Ramazan Emeev is gonna be able to take him down. He's gonna be able to accrue takedown points, accrue top control, and whereas Jack is a young fighter who will have the advantage on the feet, there's that blaring hole because we know Emeev's gonna go for the takedowns. One thing he does best is look for takedowns. I think it's gonna be really dangerous. You are holding a Jack ticket. I don't think his ceiling is that high either. So he's someone I'm definitely fading in. Maybe they'll come back to bite me in the ass because I do think that Della is a very fun prospect who does have decent power, but I think Emeev's gonna take away all that distance from him and look to take him down on the ground and hold him there. And in doing so, he's the preferred target on DraftKings as well. But with all the other fights I've talked about, I think that's going to wrap it up for me. There's a ton of value in this card, a ton of underdogs. I think there's a lot of fun fights. I mean, it's a big pay-per-view. That main event's going to be super fun. I think I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want to know anything more about what I'm thinking, first of all, PubSportsRadio's live stream should be out by the time this video is. That one's fun. DFS without numbers, Uncle Wheezy, Monk, super fun time. I go over my fight to target, fight to fade, fighter to fade, etc., etc. It is a really fun one to go through. And then, as I mentioned, live stream Friday where we have Liam and Kelton coming on. That'll be super fun as well. I hope to see you all there. And last but not least, I have to shout out CurrentMMA. They've been letting me do videos on their channel for the past few weeks now, and I am on a 5 event streak, going 4-1 each time. I'm 16-4 on bets there. I mean, that's pretty good. So check out that one. I'll have the link in the bio down below. But that's gonna do it. If you guys want to talk anything DFS wise or talk some fights or just ask me my opinion on anything, my DMs are open at GamblesGordo on Twitter. The next time I see you guys, Kiro's by my side once again. I wish him best of luck on his Ultimate Frisbee competition this weekend. And with that, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button down below, and let's make some money, guys.